So today I want to talk about how we shut off guidance from spirit. This is something I talked about before, but I wanted to bring up again because it's one of those topics that it continues to show up. And I think it's kind of funny because we often will have these experiences, but we keep ourselves stuck. And sometimes the funny thing is just saying that we're stuck is keeping us stuck. It's kind of funny. But how do we shut off guidance from spirit? Well, a lot of it comes to surrendering to new experiences and also getting into alignment with our truth. And our truth is always expanding. And as our truth is always expanding, it's more like functioning like this spiral of alignment. And there'll be things that you think you already know, but if you go and revisit it, you're gaining new perceptions because you're at a higher elevation from when you originally learned about it. And it's kind of funny because this always happens to me when I read a book that I've already read and then I go back and read like a chapter from it again. I think it's happened to me with The Power of Now. um, but you start to be like, oh my gosh, now that I've had all these experiences, now I can start to see this from a totally different angle than I would since I originally read it. And the same goes for life and how we are being presented guidance. A lot of people will unconsciously shut off guidance because they are afraid to ask for help. They are afraid to ask. They are afraid to let spirit lead them. And a big part of this is the trust thing, but I also believe it's a belief thing because if we don't believe and trust in the universe to deliver, how can we fully be led? We can't. It would be impossible. You're literally just cutting off guidance as you do that because you're not trusting in the process. You're not trusting in the unfolding. And in some ways that can actually hold you back a lot because the universe is constantly showing you what needs to happen. But if you're not being open to the guidance, if you're not being open to the symbols that are coming out, if you're not being open to what is constantly showing up in your life, if you're not being aware of the relationships and all of the basic symbols, then you start to really cut yourself off and not see what is right in front of your face. I remember there was this time where I kept finding, I'd be like looking for things and then they kept showing up right in front of my face. And I thought this was the weirdest symbolism, but it kept happening. And then I'm like, okay, well, what am I missing that's like directly in front of my face? And it's just, Spirit's always there. Spirit is always guiding us. Spirit is everywhere. And you can see spirit as in, God, universe, angels, whatever. Regardless, spirit is everywhere. Spirit is guiding us all the time, all day, 24/7. And it's important to understand that we block ourselves by not asking for help, not being willing to ask for help, being arrogant, being totally arrogant. If we're totally arrogant and saying things like, well, I already know this, so I don't need to learn this again, or I can't believe this, so I don't need this in my life. That kind of arrogance or having only one way or the highway, that is what is shutting you off. If you're not willing to be open, you can cut off guidance. You can cut off new perspectives, new perceptions, new learnings because you are saying, well, I don't need this. I don't need this in my life right now. And as you're saying that, the universe is like, okay, fine, okay. And that's how it works because if you're not being open, how can the universe deliver? Because if you're not an open vessel, if you're not an open channel, then you're blocking. And it's funny because we don't really see it that way because it's just, it seems so obvious. It seems so obvious that we miss it. It is literally right in front of our face. It is about asking for help. You cannot ask. I mean, you cannot receive if you do not ask. That is like literally like really wanting ice cream, but then being afraid to go to the store. Like it doesn't make sense, right? You have to be asking. You have to ask for the ice cream. If you really want something, you have to ask, because otherwise you're blocking guidance. And I see this time after time after time after time. Oh my gosh, we are afraid to ask outside of ourselves. We are afraid to ask for help. We are afraid to ask someone other than ourselves. And if we do that, we cut ourselves off from so much expansion in our life. And as I learn more and more about the concept of practical spirituality, it's also about admitting, expanding our worth and expanding who we are as people, as spiritual people, as co-creators of reality. And if we're not expanding our potentiality, or expanding our worth, we stay stuck. And as we stay stuck, we usually struggle and we're resisting and we're striving. No more striving. And as we get to this place of expansion, we start to be like, wow, I can't believe I was so caught up in my own shit that I refused to see. So what do we really do here? Well, you gotta ask. You have to ask for help. How do you ask for help? Say a prayer to the universe. Talk to your guides. Get out some tarot cards. Whatever resonates with you. You have to be willing to ask for help. Thank you, universe, for helping me see guidance about da 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 da. Thank you, universe, for guiding me and supporting me towards my money situation. Thank you, universe, for helping me see this differently. Thank you, universe, for helping me be of higher service. Thank you, universe, for helping me find a new car. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It can be anything. And I think if we get into that mentality, that is really what brings us forward the most. So how do we really do this? Well, a big part of how we block spirit is we become rigid with how we view spirituality. We only limit it to a certain perception instead of taking in new ideas or new revelations, or even, I know I'm not going to say who, but I remember one person, a friend of mine, was like, I don't read spiritual books because I just do my own thing. And that's great. I mean, that's great if that's how you want to learn. But, it also helps to just kind of realize that it's all perspective. It's all about opening up your awareness. And the more we stay in that beginner's mind, we become more susceptible to more information, more spiritual truths, different outlooks on life. And it really just kind of, it's like seeing from the top of the staircase instead of only the second step. You start to see that there's different angles and different perceptions and it's all just chaos in motion, because you're seeing literally all the probabilities and all of the different areas of growth. Like, it's really fascinating to me, because you understand not only that it's like life is spiritual, but there's different angles to all perceptions. So when we focus on being rigid in a set way of how to do things, we really cut ourselves off, because we're not willing to accept new spiritual truths. We're not willing to open the floodgates, so to speak. We kind of make ourselves stuck in one ideal of what we believe spirituality is. And I actually do this to myself a lot, as just, you start to read all these new age things, and then it's just like, well, this is right and this is wrong. And I don't believe that anymore at all. Like, I don't believe the fluoride thing, and I don't believe the GMO thing, and I don't believe any of that crap anymore, because I've been so open to what is possible that you start to see beyond all the fear tactics and the bullshit and all of these things that are really just kind of like lessons of fear that hold us back. Because I think there's just, it's, if when we're rigid with our spirituality, we cut ourselves off from being open to new perspectives. And the easiest way to get out of that is to stay in beginner's mind. It's more expansive, more malleable. And as we become more malleable, we become open to new neuron pathways and new expansive experiences. And this is how the mind grows the most, is we create new neuron pathways by being openly aware to new guidance. And you're not going to do that if you're closing yourself off and you're set in your ways and you're only letting your particular identity dictate how you feel and how you want to be in this like little box of how you view things. Because when we do that, we don't open our awareness. And a lot of the times the resistance we feel is just a teacher showing us to look beyond. Now, if it doesn't directly resonate, that's one thing, but if it's getting you to question and it's triggering you, there's something there you need to see. And that's always the hardest lesson to learn, is we cut ourselves off from guidance when we let resistance get the better of us. But that resistance is also showing us opportunities, expansion, and the stepping stone into a new experience. And the other thing I'd like to talk on is how we let our excuses deny us our greatness. How many times have you kind of just let the excuses dictate your actions? I mean, we all do it. It's, I remember there was this one conversation I had with my friend, and I'm just like, I never get a break. I'm not entitled to breaks. I never have any moment to myself. Da, 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 da. And then my friend's just like, well, why don't you just manifest yourself a break for once? And I'm like, oh my God, that's it. That's it. We create excuses that stop us from having what we want. If you're telling yourself all of these excuses about why you want, why you can't have what you want, then you're letting all of your excuses dictate your life. This is another way we let ourselves get cut off from guidance. We let the excuses dictate our life. We let the limited beliefs steer us in resistance. We let ourselves be stuck in the contraction because of excuses, bullshit lies. And all of this is just the ripples that we're creating in our experiences. To heal this, to heal not listening to guidance, we must stay in beginner's mind. We must be open. We must be aware. And being aware isn't always easy, because that may mean surrendering to change. It may mean taking the leap. It may mean amazing new opportunities. But this is when life gets fun. This is when life gets interesting. And as we stay open, we open up our awareness of not just who we are, but our reality, our multidimensional reality, and beyond. Because this is what spirit is about. It's expanding our worth, expanding who we are, and expanding our potentiality. Lastly, it's about letting go and letting the universe deliver. Let the universe guide you. Let the universe guide you. And it's also about getting out of our way. A lot of the times we just cut ourselves off from our true guidance. And a big part of this is because we are letting ourselves get in our own way. We are letting ourselves get in our head too much. And as we get in our head, we kind of make our place in a place of contraction. And the easiest way to start jumpstarting our guidance is to trust that the universe is delivering. The universe is delivering exactly what we need. Once we trust this process, we start trusting the unfolding. And the more we believe and trust, it's going to be easy. It's going to be fun. It's going to help us learn. It's going to expand our awareness. We start to get more comfortable with guidance, and we start to be more open towards new experiences, new teachers, new revelations, new books, whatever it may be. And this is where we truly let our energy take off, because we're no longer being confined to just one perception and one rigid idea, or just, one set of dogma or whatever. It's really about we let ourselves let go and let love guide us. That's really what it's about. So allow yourself to be open to your highest good, towards your highest good. Allow yourself to be open towards your highest good. And there you will start being led by spirit. You will start being led by your expansion. You will start elevating. And as we elevate, we expand our worth, expand our truth, expand our spiritual power, and surrender towards change. That's what it really means. That's what it's about. So much more. Let yourself be led by spirit and be open towards the universe. See you next time.